radical wing of the Democratic Party. Take a look.
The Democrat Party's main constituency are made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals. That is who the Democrat Party is catering to, not the Trump administration and not the White House and not the Republican Party, who is standing up for law-abiding Americans, not just across the country, but around the world.
Now, these comments prompted this unhinged meltdown from the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries. Take a look.
We got Caroline Leavitt, who's sick. She's out of control. And I'm not sure whether she's just demented, ignorant, a stone-cold liar, or all of the above. But the notion that an official White House spokesperson would say that the Democratic Party consists of terrorists, violent criminals, and undocumented immigrants, this makes no sense. That this is what the American people are getting from the Trump administration in the middle of a shutdown.
All right, time now for our White House press briefing with White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. I just have a funny feeling you might want to respond to all of this.
I sure would, Sean, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to do so. Look, Hakeem Jeffries is simply lashing out because he knows that I am telling the truth about the modern-day Democrat Party. What I said, and it is a fact, is that the Democrat Party caters more to pro-Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals. And let me walk Hakeem through the facts of that statement. When it comes to pro-Hamas terrorists, it was Hakeem's House Democrat caucus that voted against a resolution condemning the October 7th attack on Israel. It was Hakeem Jeffries' Democrat caucus that supported and encouraged the pro-Hamas protests that ravaged college campuses and engaged in illegal harassment of Jewish students across the United States of America under Joe Biden's administration. When it comes to illegal aliens, the American people know the truth about that. The Democrats allowed them to flood our country. Why? Because they view that constituency as their future voters. And when it comes to violent criminals, look at what the Democrats support in terms of crime. Soft on crime policies like cashless bail, like letting violent criminals out back into the streets so they can recommit violent offenses against law-abiding American citizens. The Democrat Party puts Americans last. That's why they overwhelmingly lost the election to President Trump and the Republican Party. And that's why they're holding this country hostage right now from law-abiding, tax-paying American citizens who want the government to be open. So Hakeem Jeffries should stop calling me names. He should stop trying to fight my boss, President Trump, and he should go back to doing what he was elected to do, the business of the American people in Congress, and encourage Senate Democrats to open the government. And I see Hakeem Jeffries saying House Republicans are out. They're not even here. Yeah, because they did their jobs and they passed a clean continuing resolution at the behest of President Trump to keep the government open. And now Senate Democrats and Chuck Schumer are blocking that to fight Donald Trump. And it's despicable.
Okay, I want to set the record straight here because he lied in what he's saying. And Democrats have been lying about this as well. And I watched you one day at the podium and you laid out the facts. They are demanding $1.5 trillion in new spending to keep the government open for 7 weeks. Wow, that's a lot of money. Included in that money, $200 billion, health care for illegals, the continuation of COVID subsidies for people well above the poverty level. That was meant to be temporary in the first place. They want to fund NPR, PBS, all these DEI, initiatives around the world. Or they're not going to open the government. They're not going to let our military get paid. They're not going to let Homeland Security officials that are working get paid. That's where we are. And meanwhile, Republicans will fund the government at current levels while they negotiate new budgets. Because they're just flat out lying. Oh, we're not funding illegal immigrants. Yes, they are.
They are. their continuing resolution that they proposed to keep the government open included a poison pill that would have undone what President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill did, which is to restrict illegal aliens from receiving Medicaid benefits. President Trump fixed that in the One Big Beautiful Bill, and Democrats want to take it away because they want these taxpayer-funded benefits to continue to go to illegal aliens in our country. This has been done for the past 4 years under the Biden administration, and the American people roundly rejected it. And you hear AOC, who is apparently the new leader of the Democrat Party in that CNN town hall, say to a concerned American when that American asked, "Do you want my taxpayer-funded benefits going to illegals?" She said that's a Republican talking point. Those aren't the real issues Americans are facing. That is a lie. If you look at what happened under the Biden administration, real Americans, elderly citizens, were facing an increase in wait times at hospitals and emergency care centers across the country because they were putting last in line, and illegal aliens were getting that care and that treatment first. And when illegal aliens get medical treatment in this country, who's paying for it? The American taxpayer. Well, not anymore under the Trump administration. That's why this administration is focused on deporting illegal aliens who violate our nation's laws. And we're going to protect the rights and the benefits of tax-paying, law-abiding American citizens.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about world peace. The president has invested a lot of time, political resources, energy into world peace. Congo, Rwanda, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Israel, Iraq, and I can go India, Pakistan, I can go on and on. We had this historic deal. The hostages were finally released, which was great. Now we see Hamas radicals that are indicating they don't want peace. They're killing innocent Palestinians. The president has said if you keep it up and you don't keep the terms of the agreement, you will be obliterated. Zelensky was at the White House today, and that on the heels of a phone call with Vladimir Putin and an appointment apparently to meet once again. I think probably the word tomahawks might have gotten Putin's attention. Can you give us an update on both of those situations?
Sure. Well, first of all, Sean, I want your audience to know how hard President Trump is working in the pursuit of peace, not just here in our own country, on the homeland, in the domestic front, but around the world. The president started the week flying to Israel and Egypt, came back within 36 hours to honor Charlie Kirk at the Medal of Freedom ceremony in the White House. And then the next day, he spends 3 hours on the phone with President Putin trying to bring this war to an end. The following day, today, we had President Zelensky at the White House, and the president had a 3-hour-long meeting with him in the cabinet room. And in both of these conversations with both Putin and Zelensky, they were cordial, but very frank. And the president of the United States has said to both sides of this war, this has been going on for far too long. Far too many innocent people have been killed. And the United States of America is growing very weary and tired of this war. Enough is enough. Both sides need to recognize the reality on the ground right now and come to a peace agreement, because President Trump's patience and the patience of the American people is growing very thin with this war. And so he was very frank and direct, but President Trump will never give up. And you saw that come to a resolution with the peace deal in Israel and in Gaza, with the beautiful release of the hostages. That was another promise made and promise kept by President Trump, and it cannot be overstated how hard the president and his incredible national security team, Special Envoy Witkoff, Vice President Vance, Secretary of State Rubio, Secretary Hegseth, our Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, there's so many behind the scenes as well, who have worked so hard, but especially the president, who literally does not sleep and works around the clock in the pursuit of peace. And he will continue to do that with respect to Russia and Ukraine, just like he has with Israel and Gaza. And he truly believes that there can be a real chance for an everlasting peace in the Middle East. And you saw Arab leaders and European leaders from around the world gathering in Egypt with the president and thanking him for this historic accomplishment. It's a new dawn in the Middle East, and we hope that can be true as well with Russia and Ukraine, and the president is working very hard on that.
We could all hope for that. I mean, what a noble goal. You mentioned patience, and I'm thinking, I don't know how you have the patience to deal with the state-run legacy media mob every day.